Welcome to History in Our Backyard, the Names of Places in Georgia podcast. We are the Cougar Crew, and I'm Violet.
I'm Amber.
I'm Sharia.
And I'm Anjali.
And the rest of Chattahoochee Blue Team is Iha, Anya, Ellie, Jackson, Sean, and Jaden. This podcast is produced by Leadership Johns Creek and Student Leadership North, and funded in part by the Library of Congress Teaching with Primary Sources Eastern Region program, coordinated by Waynesburg University and Mercer University Office of the Provost Humanities Seed Grant. Thank you for your support.
Welcome to History in Our Backyard, the podcast where we explore the history, significance, and people behind iconic landmarks. Today, we're at one of the busiest and most recognizable airports in the world, the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. This place is filled with artwork and history, and so now I'm thinking, who was Hartsfield, and why is his name on one of the world's busiest airports?
That's a great question, Shoria. This year is actually the 100-year anniversary of the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, so it's the perfect time to talk about its history. The Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport isn't just a transportation hub, it's a cornerstone of Atlanta's identity and a key player in global connectivity. Last year, over 110 million travelers passed through, but the airport is still expanding.
It's incredible to think about how far it's come. The airport wasn't always the bustling hub we know today. It started in the 1920s as Candler Field, a modest racetrack owned by Asa Candler, the Coca-Cola businessman. Around that time, many Atlanta city leaders realized aviation could boost Atlanta's economic growth and connectivity.
That's right, and that's why in 1925, Atlanta city leaders leased the property. It was a bold move, laying the groundwork for what would become one of the world's busiest airports. This transformation owes much to William B. Hartsfield.
Yeah, and he contributed so much to the airport's development that he is known as the father of aviation.
He was that among other things. Many consider Hartsfield as one of the greatest mayors Atlanta has ever seen. He served 6 terms from 1937 to 1962. During that time, he saw the potential of air travel and worked tirelessly to expand the airport. His efforts included securing federal funding, modernizing facilities, and positioning Atlanta as a critical hub for domestic and international travel.
And none of his efforts went to waste. Even after he left office, the airport continued to expand, since he had set it up for success. His contributions were so significant that in 1980, the airport was officially renamed in his honor. But Hartsfield's legacy extends far beyond aviation. He played a pivotal role in shaping Atlanta's identity during a transformative period in its history.
One of the more complex aspects of Hartsfield's legacy is its evolving stance on race relations. Early in his career, he surprisingly held pro-segregationist views. And that brings us to a question. Why was he advocating for civil rights if he was pro-segregationist?
Well, Hartsfield eventually started to recognize that segregation was hindering Atlanta's growth. As the city's African American population gained political influence, he understood that integration was both a moral imperative and an economic necessity. So he didn't want the hatred of Montgomery or Little Rock in Atlanta.
Totally. Hartsfield even coined the phrase, "a city too busy to hate," emphasizing Atlanta's focus on economic progress over racial division. This motto reflected his belief that prosperity required unity, even amid the challenges of desegregation.
You know, a significant milestone came in 1961 when Atlanta peacefully integrated most of its public schools years after the Supreme Court's Brown v. Board of Education ruling. While the full integration of schools faced resistance and took another decade, this moment was a testament to Hartsfield's leadership.
Yet, his tenure wasn't without challenges. In 1958, the bombing of a Jewish temple by a white supremacist group, the Confederate Underground, tested the city's resolve. Hartsfield condemned the attacks unequivocally, stating that such actions had no place in a city striving for progress. His firm stance sent a powerful message about Atlanta's commitment to becoming an inclusive and forward-looking city.
Fortunately, Hartsfield wasn't alone in his work to make Atlanta a city too busy to hate. He also worked closely with civil rights leaders like John Wesley Dobbs, who advocated for Black political representation. With Dobbs' influence, Hartsfield hired Atlanta's first Black police officers in 1948, a groundbreaking move at the time.
You know, another significant figure in Hartsfield's story actually happens to be Martin Luther King Jr. Hartsfield supported negotiations to reduce tensions during civil rights protests, and King expressed his gratitude in a letter later on.
These relationships show Hartsfield's evolving approach to leadership. I think that while his journey wasn't without flaws, he did demonstrate this willingness to adapt and prioritize Atlanta's future despite his personal views.
Speaking of history, did you know there's a cemetery near the airport's 5th runway?
That's right. However, the airport doesn't officially own the cemetery. It is actually expanded around the cemetery, which contains graves of veterans from the Civil War through World War II. This cemetery showcases the symbolic meaning of the airport because it is filled with representations of America's controversial past, like the small Confederate flags next to the many headstones.
As time went on, the cemetery was completely surrounded by the busyness and success of the airport, which just goes to show not only how far we've come as a city, but also that history is still prevalent in modern places.
That is really interesting. Did you also know that after his time as mayor, Hartsfield was awarded the title of Mayor Emeritus, meaning he could retain his title as mayor even once he retired. He also became a consultant at a few notable Georgia-based companies, including Coca-Cola and Truist Bank.
Today, the airport generates huge economic and cultural value. In 2022 alone, it contributed nearly $379 million to Georgia's economy, supported 383,000 jobs, and welcomed over 100 million passengers in 2024 alone.
Along with that, displayed in a graph by Statista, visitors to the airport generated $15 billion in additional revenue from shops and restaurants within the airport, contributing greatly to the economy.
In addition, the airline giant Delta, founded by a crop dusting company in Atlanta, along with the growing film industry in the city, has significantly increased the city's value to the airport.
The airport is also a hub for international relations. Partnerships, such as the agreement with Airports Company South Africa, highlight Hartsfield-Jackson's role in promoting and maintaining global collaboration today and far into the future.
And all of this ties back to Hartsfield's vision. He believed in Atlanta's potential to be a leader in transportation, innovation, and inclusion.
I think that Hartsfield's legacy is forever intertwined with the people of Atlanta and the city as a whole.
For sure. His work, and let's not forget the work of Maynard Jackson, has deeply shaped the city's progress and unity, which is why Atlanteans carry the legacy of innovation and inclusion. By the way, you can learn more about former Mayor Maynard Jackson's work in our sister episode.
Something I've noticed is that Hartsfield's values continue to drive initiatives taken by the airport today, such as the partnership with South Africa.
While I believe that Hartsfield's contributions are beyond words, let's not forget that this story isn't just about an individual, but it is also about growing global city with amazing diversity and connection. We hope that now, when you visit the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, you will remember Hartsfield's legacy as you take off.
Thank you for listening to History in Our Backyard, the Names of Places in Georgia podcast. You can learn about the other namesake, Maynard Jackson, in our sister episode. If you'd like more information about Student Leadership North, please visit our website at studentleadershipnorth.com. If you're interested in the Library of Congress's Teaching with Primary Sources program, please visit their website at loc.gov. If you'd like more information about Mercer University, please check out their website at mercer.edu. Thank you.